man, I'm out of here. I was looking for a way.
You'll move into a village.
My wife's seriously thinking about for a superior one. For recreation. That's what it does last time.
She just got to mute her speaker.
James. James. You can hear all of that. We're talking about that.
It's really delayed.
30-second delay on purpose. I think YouTube does it like, because if somebody like kills themselves, you can try to shut it down before. Or something. Because people have done
You're not supposed to say those words on YouTube.
Well, yeah, we'll probably shut us down now.
Good. Will you do it?
Now about my other one in the bottom down here, I muted over here.
Make it go ahead, let's still do it. See what I did in that.
Anderson. Or something.
Yeah, it was probably before.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we on time? Yeah, perfect. 6.
Just how you planned it, right?
No, I didn't.
No, I think that's trade late or.
I think it's time.
Yep.
I gave you an agenda.
Are we recording in some form or another? We're good. I'll call the meeting to order. Notice was posted in accordance to Wisconsin statute 19.84 open meeting law. If the secretary would please read the notice of public hearing.
Notice of public hearing, state of Wisconsin, County of Burnett, Monday, July 1st, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Burnett County Government Center in room 165, Union, Siren, Wisconsin, regarding the following. Variance 2411, Birkenbach. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Jackson, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Brad Anderson, on behalf of Thomas and Rochelle Schirkenbach, has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To construct a new dwelling at a reduced front setback and at a reduced setback from the ordinary high water mark of North Sand Lake at 3652 South Peninsula Road in the RR1 zoning district, Lot 1, CSM Volume 21, page 262, in Government Lot 1, Section 3640-15. Variance 2412, Jacobs. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Union, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Benjamin and Crystal Jacob have made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To leave a patio, retaining wall, and a fire pit area that was constructed without a land use permit, which does not meet the setback from the ordinary high water mark of Bass Lake at 8608 South Shore Drive in the RR1 zoning district, Lot 3, Bass Lake Shores, Section 2340-17. Variance 2413.
Gideon.
Agreed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Oakland, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Abdullah and Anne Marie Kadid have made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To expand the existing cabin dwelling more than 25% on a parcel that is non-conforming for dwelling density on Yellow Lake at 7841 Birch Street in the RR1 zoning district, Unit 2 of Royal Cabin Condo in Government Lot 3, Section 194016. Variance 2414, Simonson. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Trade Lake, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Thomas Simonson has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To allow a fenced enclosure within an access easement for a private road at 21115 Deer Lane Circle in the RR2 zoning district, lot 12, Little Trade Lake Estates, section 213718. Variance 2415, Larson. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Jackson, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Roger Larson has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To construct an addition larger than 200 square feet within the lake setback located on North Sand Lake at 3896 South Shore Road in the RR1 zoning district, lots 1 and 2, CSM volume 1, page 161, section 354050.
Thank you. This time we'll accept the motion to approve the agenda order.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Peterson,
I second it.
seconded by Schmidt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Meeting procedures. When we call your case, we'll ask that one person come up and present their case. The board may ask you questions back and forth. After you're done presenting your case, we'll open the public hearing. We ask that all comments be kept to 3 minutes at that time. Once the public hearing is closed, then the board will deliberate, maybe ask some more questions to the applicants, and we'll probably get a decision yet tonight. If after the evening we do make a decision, then there is an appeal. You'll have up to 30 days after we sign the appeal to apply for that process. And other than that, if there's any other questions, we can give you some documentation if you need. If not, we'll move on and we'll open up the first case, variance 2411, Schreckenbach.
Put you on the hot seat.
Right here.
Just state your name and
Brad Anderson. Here for Tom and Shirley on Schreckenbach. And they have a house up there on North Sand Lake and Peninsula Road. It's very large lot units, so we're trying to get a little bigger, which we're trying to do for the garage. We're shrinking down a little bit of their porch that's there right now on the lake side. It's 14 feet sticking into bring it back to 9 feet. So that helps us and getting rid of this other stuff that's up in the shed and the walkway and there's stuff already there that's there. It's just
That's all gonna go. The shed, the patio.
We have a drawing with some decks on there right now. And just one of these rails to them. Retail parts. Not really the bathroom thing, is really good.
Right.
It's kind of a special lot.
Like so many are.
Yeah, special.
especially with the name Peninsula.
Absolutely.
We have, like you notice, on this drawing, we have a 100-foot lot, 110, and we see did by an extra 35 feet from his neighbor. So if we can get another lot in there. I don't know, that probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago.
So that would create what was would have been 3 structures available, now it can only be 2 because the lots got split. So we split the 2, so we cut down on 1 structure. Correct, Brad?
Yep.
So, or. Structure.
The decks, the 2 decks, the 9 by 14 and the 9 foot by 29. Are they gonna be on grade? This is it. So they won't have a hand with. Okay, and I saw that it's 4 bedrooms, correct? 4 bedrooms, so have you perked for the septic? Do we know that we can get a 4-bedroom in there, or is it gonna be a holding tank?
It's on the right side there.
I see where,
They have an existing right, 2-bedroom.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's gonna have to go, because we're building on top of it, correct?
So that now. And the other idea is if it's okay if we go with this size building. We would really be hopeful if we could shift it to the north. It's right now it's 21 feet in the lot line. And it's really good to. 12. Within more feet. Inside of the garage, we would get that now. For the septic.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah, that makes sense, because I don't know if that spot is big enough for a 4-bedroom. Jason would know probably better
Well-
than I would.
Now they're getting creatives with these geomats and mound in a box, they call them, so they can really get small areas to work, but yeah, 4-bedroom is still pretty big to get. Small spot like that, so yeah, and you could go right up to 10.
To the
On
To the
to
north.
the north without having to do a variance. If you went any less than that, then I'd have to say, then you have to start the variance process
okay.
over again, so.
And it wouldn't do any difference on the shoreline, because the shoreline looks like it jogs away at that point too, going farther to the north, right? By looking at the drawing by the engineer or the surveyor. We have a surveyor that comes here quite often, and he superimposes old and new, which is very helpful. And we don't have that, so I had to go out today and take other measurements. So it must be about between 450 and 500 square feet additional inside the 75 feet. If we use the 200. Now, would that be legal, Jason? We could use the 200s and reduce the 450. That you, even though we're inside the 75 with existing.
Well, you get 200, that's what would be allotted
Without permit.
without a
Variance.
variance. But then they're also, though, you have to be 30 feet from the front lot line and the garage is only at 25.
Okay.
So I mean. Unless you chop the garage and made that smaller, then you wouldn't have that variance issue either, but. 200 is what they could do without a variance.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
No, anything else you want to present at this time? Otherwise, we'll let you sit down and we'll open up the public hearing, so.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll open up the public hearing for variance 2411. Anyone wishing to speak on behalf or against? We got a letter on that? This one, no.
This one, you have a letter from the DNR.
Read parts, they're pretty standard.
Well, this is a new person now. at the
Okay.
DNR, so
You want to read it?
you want me to read that 2 pages?
2 pages, well, it's in the file, we've all seen it and read it.
Does it, how about just the last paragraph?
Highlights here.
Last paragraph.
let's see, I'll read one paragraph here. There is an existing non-conforming residence on this lot, which is allowed to be rebuilt in the exact footprint. The existing non-conforming residence is also allowed to be vertically expanded in the same footprint. And the footprint of the structure may be expanded up to 200 square feet, provided the expansion is no closer than the existing structures from the ordinary high water mark on both sides. These are all options allowed by the ordinance without the issuance of a variance. There is nothing in the application to show that without a variance, the applicants cannot make reasonable use of the property. That one paragraph you want me to read?
That's fine.
Perfect.
Any other public comments? If not, we'll close the public hearing. The committee will deliberate amongst ourselves and render a decision tonight, hopefully. Thoughts or concerns? I think you're correct on the superimposed stuff. It's, we had the map laid out and then we talk about switching it to 10 feet too. It does lead to some confusion, I know, as to what you're approving when it's real fluid like that.
That's why we have Jason. He takes
Correct.
care of all that.
It helps.
You know, the nice thing is that he looked ahead to this project 15 years ago, bought another piece of property. Had talked to not only Jim Flanagan, Craig Conroy, Jason's been out there a couple times, so they're doing everything up front, above board.
Yep.
It's not an after the fact thing. So I really like that a lot.
Well, it's a strong point when you look at the intent of the rule and then having 2 versus 3 structures that
Absolutely.
each one of those is then every 5 or 10 years could apply for a 200-foot addition.
It's supposed to be once over life in the structure.
But you know.
They can ask for anything for a variance.
On the road.
But by reducing the
Correct.
lot.
Yep.
You know, on a big weekend, it could be 40 or 50 people that aren't using that lake. You know, all the time because we reduced one structure from that. So that's good for the lake.
I do like that they're removing the structures closer to the frontage that are within the 35 or 70 feet. 75.
Yeah.
And cleaning it up when they do the addition.
And it is tough. Peninsula Roads is very tough location and the buildings have been there a long, long time. You know, so it's like, and they've owned this a long, long time. So it's not like they bought a piece of property and now are saying, I want to expand this. They've had this in the family for, you know, a long time. So that's always a plus in my book.
I'm fine with it. I'd entertain a motion if someone wants to make one.
I would make a motion to approve the variance as requested. And I would say that Brad Anderson, who did the permit application, would be responsible to talk to Jason about moving the structure to the 10-foot setback. So you'd be responsible for that. Then there will be stipulations done with this application.
Want me to read them real quick?
Yes, please.
So the conditions that the staff would recommend, for a shoreline to follow state standard viewing and access corridor width, which is not to exceed 30% of the shoreline for the corridor width and the vegetated natural areas to be a depth of 37.5 feet landward from the ordinary high water mark. This is the same requirement as listed in state statute 596921BV, which allows up to 200 square feet of open sided construction within the 75-foot setback. They have approximately 145 feet of shoreline, which would allow a 44-foot wide viewing and access corridor. Next, gutters and downspouts add the cabin with the water directed to a rain garden. This is an additional mitigation for exceeding the 200 square feet within the 75-foot setback. Land use permit to be obtained prior to the structure being constructed. Sanitary system permit to be obtained for a properly sized septic system. Proper erosion control and stormwater runoff controls to be in place and follow all local, county, state, and federal requirements for this activity.
Thank you. Do I have a second for that motion?
I said,
Motion by Peterson, second by Schmidt, as to the staff recommendations added to the motion. Any other discussion on motion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You have your variance. Variance 2412 Jacobs to leave a patio, retaining wall and fire pit in an area that were constructed without a land use permit, which do not meet the setback for ordinary high water marks. You'll come up and state your name and
Good evening.
welcome.
Benjamin Jacobs.
So if you'll just give us an explanation as to the background story, any
Yeah.
pertinent information you can give us will be much appreciated.
In 2015, we constructed a fire pit between our house and the lake. With flagstones as pavers there. That was done in 2015. There was no permit for it. We weren't aware of that at the time. Recently, we looked at doing something with our septic system, and the contractor there pointed out to us that this did not have a land use permit, so we started the process to request a variance.
On the patio.
On the patio, yeah. We put the septic on hold so we could settle this
Before.
before.
So you plan to keep the property.
Yes,
Your shoreline is wonderful. This is natural.
Yeah. and happy to.
And they're looking down at, honestly, doesn't seem like it was put in 2015. To me, it looked like it's been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
It blended in really well.
Yes,
It just,
absolutely. I mean,
I mean, the colors of the rock even match the stuff a little bit, so it
definitely
was done well.
wasn't- Definitely wasn't done last year.
You know, so. Any other thing that you want to add at this time? Like I said, it's.
Yeah, just, we're sorry we didn't, approach it the proper way. We just want to get the right spot, and I think as established as it is, the vegetation is well established around it. We think it cause more damage to the area. Than you can-
I don't have any.
I'm good too. Appreciate it, Benjamin.
Thank you.
Thanks. At this time, I'll open the hearing 2412 Jacobs, public hearing. Any comments or concerns from the attendees? If not, we can close the public hearing. We got the letter.
This one has a DNR letter. Let me try to find the paragraph. Let's see, so this is from the DNR, the denial of the use of the patio retaining wall in the fire pit is not unnecessarily burdensome. The existing deck offers the opportunity to enjoy the outdoors and the natural scenic beauty of Bass Lake. Property owner bears the burden of proving unnecessary hardship. The entire lot is over 7.5 acres in size, contains a residence, large deck, and a detached garage. There is nothing in the application to show that without a variance for the patio retaining wall and fire pit, the applicants cannot make reasonable use of the property.
Thank you. This is one to me that seems pretty pleasant. Like I said, talking to Jason, like I said, if we go more than 10 years, they're actually exempt from going back on stuff. We're at, I think, about 9 on this case. To me, it's blended in there really well. I don't even know, obviously it wasn't out on the lake, but I don't know how much you see of that
I don't
patio.
think,
Right.
I don't think.
The way it's hidden in there, I mean, the other option to be would be, say, forced to take it out, it'd tear up that whole, I mean. Those are big boulders, and it's, then you're starting over, it'll be 15 years before it's back to normal, in my opinion.
And it slopes back.
Yeah.
If you look at that, you know, I usually have a level with me.
Yeah.
And I ran back and I grabbed a level, put it on there, and it's not sloping to the lake, so that runoff is not going into the lake. So. Your builder didn't get it level, that's what I'm trying to say. Good thing in this case.
I have no further questions or concerns,
I was going to say on the staff comments, the
Yep.
shoreline is to follow shoreline and primitive for every variance. as recorded in 2000, but it seems to me they already are.
Oh, it's perfect. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like a Boundary Waters lake.
Yeah.
A lot, you know, it's like a Boundary Waters campsite. I mean, they're more beat up than that.
So we're looking at meeting in Fort and Jefferson.
Well, that's kind of been
What we're looking.
the standard that you've kind of done. Because there'd be no way to permit this item without a variance, cause it, you know, we always talk about the 200 square feet they're
Mhm.
allowed to have within the 75 foot setback, but that requires the item to be at least 35 feet back, and this is closer than 35. So
So yes, we would. have
that was
to
kind of a
require-
thought of a trade-off of kind of getting something that we can't get, essentially.
With that section. I make a motion that we approve this with the following conditions. Since the shoreline already follows the requirements, I'll skip that one, but gutters and downspouts on the dwelling with the water directed to rain gardens will have to be done because of the fact that this is within the 35-foot setback. A land use permit will be obtained by September 1st, 2024. A lock and chain should be installed on the septic tank by 10/1 of 2024 and follow all local, county, state, and federal requirements for this activity.
A motion by Schmitz. I'll second the motion. All in favor of approving variance 2412 Jacobs, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Variance 2413, Kadid. Come up and state your name and state your case, please.
My name is Abdallah Kadir, my wife and Mary Kadir. You know, we came it will be 1 year, 4th of July, we came to Yellow Lake and we fell in love with the place. And we said if there is anything open, we would like to jump on it. And there was one opening and we jumped on it. So we love it. Anyway, so we're here, we trying to ask for a variance to go out. I know we can go up 25%, but we're asking an extra 4 feet only from the 25%, that put us into the 50%. You know, and we are here because, you know, I talked to Jason, I came up with him, and I learned the process, but I did not know anything about all of this. You know, and we are here to do it right, and we're asking from you guys to approve it as possible. So the 4 feet for us make a big difference because it's 320 square feet now. You know, it's kind of like the staircase to go up. That's pretty much it. Thank you for your time.
Anything else? I mean, we can ask you questions if we come to it, if you
Yes.
go back out there and stuff, so
No
other than that, that's fine.
Thank you.
So this one, the only thing would be, if in fact we granted this variance, then he still would have to do the shoreline restoration, and then you would have to get approval from the condo association, would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean. You guys would put whatever condition you want on there, and then, yeah, if that is one of the conditions, then they're gonna have to. Condo is gonna have to work on getting that resolved. Now, the good thing with that is. You know, I think this is the third condo variance we've had in the last year. I mean, this is pretty common.
Yeah.
So if they got their shoreline up to standard, then I think that would make it easier then for the next one to come in and ask for a variance. Cause I'm sure more will do that in the future.
Well, this time we'll open the public hearing anyways on it. Is there any comment from the? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just was gonna.
State, if you go ahead and state your name, please.
Paul Volker.
Yep, go ahead.
I just want to add that I built a place on Minerva and so went through the whole permitting and everything, and then also Dennis Quinn with inspections and everything, so I understand all the challenges, what you should do. And so when I met Abdullah, he was getting all this information from all these people. I said, no, you go and do it the right way. It's better to ask for permission and forgiveness and go that route. So I'm just kind of speaking on behalf of the history here. I think it makes sense, and I know other people that own properties there, and none of the people in the immediate area have any concerns. So to me, I'm just speaking on his behalf.
Thank you. So you understand what the shoreline restoration would be? I mean, you'd have to get the condo association kind of approve it. It's just some plantings and the county comes out, helps you work on that and tells you what to do. And you can either do it yourself or you can hire a contractor.
We understand about if we're doing that for ourselves. and then
Well, see, what the tricky thing is a condo is only a form of ownership, so the condo is still one parcel. You guys own a unit, so we have to look at it as, that's why you're here for a variance, because there's 9 or 10 cabins on one parcel and it's non-conforming, so. That is the tricky thing with a condominium. It's not like you own it solely by yourself. You got a lot more people with this vote and their say in the matter.
May I ask a question, please? So now, we are okay to do that, you know what I mean? And I'm sure if we talk to the, you know, to the association, if we're doing, they'll be okay with that. But for our neighbor, for example, do we have to force them to do it too? Or we leave it to them when they come ask if they wanna expand? And then they'll have to do the same as we did or something like that.
Well, it's, again, it's looked at as one parcel.
So you'd have to do it up front. All of them would have to agree on it. All of your neighbors on that condo association would have to agree on this shoreline restoration.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah. That's a thought.
So that's a condition.
That would be a condition.
They'll be approved until they get the condo association to agree, and that will benefit all of them, because a lot of them will probably want something in the future to have to work together as a single unit.
So hopefully you haven't pissed your neighbors off.
Not yet, no, you know what I mean? So.
Any other public comment?
Mark from Raymond Swing. The only question, I guess, is supposed to be for Jason too. I haven't looked at the condo to see if the addition fit in their unit area.
No, it fits within the unit. Their box, yep,
Their box is big enough, okay.
yes.
If not, we'll close the public hearing and we'll talk amongst ourselves.
There's no letter from the DNR on this one. No letters on 3 of the 5.
Well, the neighbors to the west had did quite a bit of work on their condo, and that was part of the association.
They claim they went right to the 25% limit.
Enforcement.
And we saw that in the letter that you guys sent us, you know what I mean? And again, you know, it opened our eyes to do it right from the beginning, because, you know, we don't wanna get into that point that come back and, you know what I mean? That's why we're here, wanna do it right.
And we appreciate that very much.
It's really important for us, you know what I mean?
You got anything else, Jason? I mean, you got anything else, Jerry?
No, just I think that's a condition that we should put on it, is that the approval of the condo association to get it with this. Right, that'd be pending.
Yeah, I mean, you would just do the shoreline, you know, if you're gonna approve it, just do the condition as I have written, because again, it's treated as one parcel.
I would make a motion to approve this variance. And with the staff report, shoreline restoration should be made as part of the approval since the expansion is within the lake setback. The current standard using the 59.692 regulations allow a viewing access. Corridor of 30 feet per 100 feet. Condo parcel is 390 feet of shoreline, which would allow viewing access corridor of 117 feet. Being there are 9 cabins which share the shoreline, each cabin would be allowed a 13-foot wide viewing access corridor. This also requires the vegetation buffer be a depth of 37.5 feet landward from the ordinary high water mark. A land use permit is to be obtained prior to construction and then to follow all local, county, state, and federal requirements for this activity.
Motion by Peterson. And Seconded by Schmidt. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Jason will help you figure out whatever you need to do.
That sounds good. But thank you for your guys' time.
Variance 2414
You don't
Simonson.
have to stay. If you want to leave, you can. Unless you want to.
You are entertaining.
Good evening, thank you for your time. I'm Tom Simonson, 21115 Deer Lane Circle, Trade Lake. My lot is a little over 8 acres. It's got a lot of wetland. The enclosure we're talking about is 500-600 feet back from the lake, so we're not dealing with any shoreline issues. We developed this, I bought this lot in 2015, I think. Deer Lane Circle was already in. This was the last little piece again where Deer Lane is kind of supposed to be like a cul-de-sac. It's not developed, but it's drawn that way. And I think we only have about 30-35 feet off of that going into the 14 lot development in there. Of the 14 lots, there are 9 lots that have properties or people using them right now. 2 of those additional ones are owned by somebody up in 9, so they own 2 lots. And there's 3 lots that are not occupied, just sitting. Okay, so we started out the first few years, those of us that were originally the garbage truck would try to come in year round, because prior to this, this was the Trade Lake Vineyards. And they pretty much closed up in the winter, so they didn't have any service. It was the one little farmhouse that got a little service once in a while, but that was it. The first 2 years, the garbage truck came in and got stuck down at the turnaround and pretty much said, "No, I'm not gonna come back here anymore." Also, the garbage truck is one of the heaviest vehicles on the roads. If the private road like that, all 14 lots are responsible for it. I said, I really don't care out on the end to try to keep the garbage truck off. I thought I was on my land. I see now after Mark surveyed it that I'm a little over, and we will shrink, proposing to shrink the enclosure so that we're the full 20 feet away per code. There's a telephone pole right next to us, sticking out there too. So there's other structures in the easement. We back right up to the wetland. We can't go any farther back. Can't go any farther forward. We can't go any farther to the south. Without it, we're gonna have up to 14 garbage canisters sitting out there. With the bear going through them. A few weeks ago, I got that there was garbage all over the place. We have never had any bears get into the garbage dumpster. Right now, everybody except one party is using the dumpster and pays their share of it. It's open to the other person, they just decided not to, which is okay. I don't see how 14 garbage cans out on the corner with the bear running around is gonna be anything but a mess. This is my land. I'm not charging anybody to have that. I built it there because I don't want garbage on my land. And we get the wetlands. I know we looked at, can we have the garbage man go all the way in? And he didn't want to go in there, and be stuck in the winter. And it's too heavy. Right now, he pulls up Deer Lane in the asphalt, there's power lines overhead. So he's got to stay back just a bit, so he doesn't hit him when he brings the dumpster over and in. So there's no environmental problems there, just we're trying to keep the trash out and keep it cleaned up. It's been there now for 5+ years. I think I built it in 2018. The driveway easement that goes up to lots 1 and 2 does kind of meet right there. It's plenty wide. There's motorhomes that go up there. I know Anderson Towing went up there with their huge 40-foot truck hauling a 30 or 40-foot container behind them. And they said they didn't have any trouble getting up there at all. I don't know what's longer than that or bigger than that. It's bigger than a walking ladder fire truck. I mean, that's a big truck. And I had them back there, so they've been back there twice, 2 or 3 times. It's more of a convenience thing. We don't see it as, I don't know what we're gonna do if we can't have it. Obviously, just all get the containers and set them out on the street. This is not, doesn't make sense to haul those things blocks every single week back and forth. So it just makes sense. I understand. I measured it the last couple of times and I thought I was at 20. We hired Mark from West Rain to come out. And I was measuring this way and that was this way. So he's got it and it's laid out. So we would pull it back so we're not infringing on the neighbors, that little point. And shrink it. I think right now it's like 12 by 8 and we probably go 9 by 7 or whatever it takes. And it would still fit in there. When I built the thing, I didn't know how big a 2-yard dumpster was and what we needed. But that seems to fit the needs of everybody. Pretty good. I think we've only had overflow once. It's once, there's,
Okay, the weekly, yeah. then
Yeah.
you're fine.
yeah, and there's only been one time where it's been overflow, we got charged over.
Yep.
And that was a big holiday and somebody got a big party. So, and one neighbor was new, so we have everything. So it doesn't happen, either, but most of the neighbors are in favor of it. Actually, all in the split the costs and stuff. So it's not just me with it. That's about it.
Appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
At this time, we'll open 2414 Simonson public hearing. Yep. State your name, please.
We've got new evidence?
No, it's just kind of what we're talking about.
Oh, that's okay,
It's got all the different easements that are recorded within the county,
okay.
Scott
that a lot of people here aren't aware of.
Let's see back here, or do I go?
You can come up, yes. Just state your name of one person or.
Scott Vogel.
Scott Vogel.
And Tony DiNardo.
So, just recently, and just for transparency, we do live here year round and, we've actually, unfortunately, ever since we've moved here, there's been issues with just not having the driveway in when we got here at closing, to the driveway not even being constructed correctly, but recently, I'll just read this if this is okay.
We do have 3 minutes, so.
It's only, I'm gonna slim it
Go ahead.
down a little bit. And that way you can maybe follow some of the documents in there. I've maybe call out the easements. So the notice of public hearing correctly denotes that Mr. Simonson is requesting a variance from Burnett County Land Services and Shoreline Protection Code of Ordinances for allowing the fenced-in enclosure within an access easement. The fenced enclosure is more properly characterized as fenced trash storage. And the issue that we're running into is in the winter time, like them, they're having issues getting garbage. We can't get propane. We can't get propane, we can't get mail deliveries. And we can't, my mom, she passed last year, but we couldn't get any of her medicine, any kind of packages in the winter time. And
Because-
so.
Because of the way you're coming out, it's such a huge hill coming out that they can't make the corner go on.
And they crash into the dumpster. Okay, and there's a picture of where that dumpster is, and from the asphalt to the dumpster, it measures at 14.9 feet. And that goes 14.9 feet, maybe 15.9 feet, all the way down to the end of the winery, where the winery was. What's even more important is that there's a document, Deer Lane Circle Declaration of Non-Exclusive Road Easement and Maintenance Agreement was recorded with Burnett County Register of Deeds shortly after the plat map. This document makes all lots in Little Trade Lake Estates a benefited parcel of road easement. Paragraph 4 of the road easement states that none of the owners of the benefited properties may use Deer Lane Circle in any fashion which hinders, disrupts, or interferes with the non-exclusive use by all owners of the benefited properties. I'm gonna try to cut this. So a survey commissioned by us back in February shows that the concrete trash pad is located in the middle of the road easement. It is a significant obstruction as in addition to the pad, there are the dumpster is an approximately 6-foot high fence placed in the middle of the road easement. This location is in clear violation of the relevant road easement document
Majority of the owners of the benefited properties have not waived the requirements of the road easement document. Additionally, no document signed by all required parties has been recorded with Burnett County Register of Deeds modifying the road easement document. The placement of this fenced trash storage site, even with a variance, is in violation of the restrictions of the governing road easement. The fenced trash site is also located in the middle of another easement, which not a lot of property owners here are aware of, that we've got a private public lake access easement that it's supposed to measure at 66 feet wide at the entrance, and it goes all the way down and then around and down, and there's a public lake access that isn't available. I had to pay for it. Nobody else knew about it. Not sure why, but it also wasn't included in our deed. So we've also got issues with our deed. We've got issues with all of these different easements. We don't even know, it says here that the fenced trash air storage site is also located in the middle of another easement. The plat map combined with our survey shows that the fenced trash storage is located in the middle of a perpetual public access easement, which is 66 feet wide at the dumpster. So, and right now, like I said, it's 14.9 feet. The easement was created under the requirements of Wisconsin section 236-16, which mandates these public access easements. The continued placement of the fenced trash storage site within this public access easement may be in violation of the state law, and working with the DNR currently today. We've been back and forth on it. It started all because I wanted to help. I called Tia from Land Services and said, hey, I want to help and figure out where to put this dumpster. I thought you mentioned that there's a private property, and she's like, no, Tony, she's like, actually, it is the perpetual public lake access easement. And I'm like, do you have a copy of that? And that wasn't even provided to us at our closing. And yeah, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's fine.
there's more. I mean,
I appreciate it. I get, like I said, there's a lot there and
Yeah.
5 minutes that we had, so.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
yeah,
and
thank you.
again, Just for
Nope, I get it.
not get propane in there in the winter.
Not
So
garbage, but propane.
it's
If you
talk
look at
about
your-
garbage versus keeping the house.
One more thing, Trade Lake is down the road. You can drop your garbage off at Trade Lake.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other public comments? Brandon, Mark?
State your name for the record,
Mark
please.
Rawls from White Surveying. Mr. Darrell was contacting me numerous times about providing information, and we have provided information. The plat was recorded, signed by the town of Craig Lake on the date it was recorded. All the easements and so forth were shown on the recorded document from day one. They've been in place. An easement is a right to go across, in and out. It doesn't have to be 60 foot wide of traveling portion. The pad and so forth can get inside as long as access is available. One of the big questions was the perpetual public access easement. That's a state 236 planning board requirement. The DNR was aware of it. They would not waive the fact that they required a public access. Because you provide a public access does not mean it's buildable or usable. It's just a requirement that it has to be done, and Jason can confirm with this information. There's numerous wetlands that's going across and a creek, so it'll probably never be built. The town of Trade Lake does not. We want to build it probably, they don't want to spend the money, and so that's the reason it probably won't be built. And so they were aware at the time of the plat recording, because they don't want to spend money on something that isn't usable either. So there's another one on the other side on Little Trade Lake too. This is the second plat, the second public access has been provided. We've in the past made an application to say we'd rather pay money or donate land. They have to take land. It's part of the requirement. Nobody in the higher ups has enough wherewithal to say it'd be better for the townships to get some money to fix the ones that are there rather than make new ones. And so they require public access. It is a requirement that they don't have to have ownership either, and it is not owned. It's a public easement. Mr. Simonson still owns the property. There's a right for the public to go across it to go to the. In the wintertime, they could access it by walking across the wetlands. Summertime, they couldn't. So, and if there's any other questions, it's definitely not in the middle of the easement. As you can see, the property line is right there. The road is where it has been. That road has been there for many, many years for the same road that's been there when it was a winery and so forth. Blacktop Road has been there all along. If you look at there, I think we have two different copies of the map, one showing the existing and one showing what the proposed would be to meet the requirements of the 20-foot separation and so forth. We don't have both, you can leave copies here.
Okay.
You got both of them. And so the fact that there was nothing recorded or nothing there, things have been recorded since day. I think what she was talking about was an additional easement that Mr. Simonson provided the two back lot owners, so they could have a walking easement to go down basically where the public access is, crossing his property, so that they can walk down there if they wish. And I think he's also provided a bridge across the wetland, or across the creek right by the water, to provide that access if necessary. Just for walking, just pedestrian easement, it's not vehicular access or anything. So if there's any questions regarding the technicalities on that.
Just, is the blacktop 20 foot 8 inches or the width of the road center line? Am I reading this right?
For the
It's
center line,
14.9. I measured it at that picture.
I'm asking Mark.
yeah, the pavement is not more than, is probably 14.
Okay, okay.
The cleared area and gravel in the width, needs to be for clearance is what the 20 foot is for clearance. It's not, the driving portion is not.
Correct.
We're at 20.
There's 20 feet clearance, yes. And that dimension is shown on there. If
20
if-
foot 8 inches. Yeah, okay.
if the area is reduced to what we have proposed.
Yes, right. Because it's 18.6 the way it is right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Any other public comments? If not, we'll close the public hearing.
I have a comment. 21-190. Deer Lane Circle, and we're in favor of the variance as it's written. Like you said, there's a power pole right there.
Could you state your name unless I?
Yeah, Scott Miron.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if you said that. I was
21-190.
starting the clock. Yep. Sorry.
So we're in favor of the variance. We do use the trash bin. Everybody does here. It saves us from having to have our own trash bin. We have a vacation property there, so it's really convenient for us to use that trash bin and not have to have a bin out there. And I did take a picture of a bear about 500 feet from that trash bin. He ran up a tree just 2 weeks ago. So we also saw a mama bear and 2 cubs right down by the lake. So there are a lot of bear in the area. It would be an awful mess there if everybody had to have trash. There is a telephone pole, like I said, probably about 3 feet in. So even if that bin was completely gone, you'd only get about another 3 feet. With that power pole there. So. Well, yeah.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
The only thing that I want to add is.
Ma'am, we can get one plan. Any other comments? Please state your name.
Carrie Miller, I'm on lot 3 in Deer Lane Circle. I'm probably a half-time person up here. I also use the dumpster and everything. Thank you.
And I look at it as a reasonable person to come in, there's plenty of room there, even to go up to the other 2 lots in the other direction. I know there's a lot of dump trucks and the power utility trucks have gone up there and they've gone up there with their big vehicles. They can make the corner. They're used to driving those. They can back up a little bit if they need to make the turn a little bit more. I'm sure maybe in the winter it is a little bit more difficult. Snowbanks, that's everywhere. But the structure itself, the garbage structure itself it's not broken, it's not a mess, it's containing everything instead of, like other people have said, having 14 canisters out on this short Deer Lane Circle road before it hits the private road. Seems a little bit not user friendly even for the trash people to pick up. So I also am in favor of having the dumpster and sharing the cost with everybody else, which is economical and just, again, as a reasonable person, it just seems to make sense.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I know people are very important. Here is very convenient. And,
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, we'll close the public hearing and deliberate amongst ourselves.
There's no letter from the DNR on this.
Perfect. I don't see. Not arguing with me, I am familiar as town chair, the 66 foot right of way that was plotted is. You can move the road, the access to most town roads are 14, 18, 16, 20 feet, 22 feet. They move over time, all the time, as you see them over thing. I don't, like I said, if you look at the power pole, I think that the applicant is making a means when we accidentally built it over the lot line, moving it over to adjust. Is shrinking the size of the current structure to accommodate the people. The other aspects that were raised were not on the application. That's stuff that I don't know about access for the other tenants that live on the dead end, but that's not the issue that's at hand right now for this committee. The only thing I might ask Mark is when you talk about that wetland access or the walking path, that's not laid out on any map. Is that go through the actual structure of the fenced in area? Okay, so to me, that's then outside of the realm of affecting that easement.
About that in the middle of block 12 and goes about 500 feet down the hill and around the fence. That's all high ground.
All the questions I had, any other comments or questions from the committee? There's an entertain a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
Motion by Peterson,
I second it.
seconded by Schmidt. Any other discussion on variance 2414? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
There was. No.
Okay, like you didn't read anything.
No, there was no.
If I'm not mistaken. Variance 2415 Larson. Last but not least, sir.
I'm s-
Always save the best for last, right?
I'll agree to that.
Okay.
We've just met, but.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. We'd like for variance to add a first floor bedroom to our existing home. We've lived there since 1998, full time. We've rebuilt on the original footprint in 95, I believe it was. At that time, we were limited to existing footprint on the setback. So we had to go up. We have 2 bedrooms upstairs. We're both approaching 80 years old and the light has not come on that you don't move around quite as good as you used to, and we would like to add a bedroom on the first floor with handicap accessible bathroom with an exit door from the bedroom so that first responders, ambulance, they have everything easy. Our floor plan that we built on because of the limitation, we have a 90-degree turn going upstairs. Getting a gurney down it would be really tough. Our property is surrounded on by water on 3 sides. We've got the lake out front, we've got a backwater behind us, and for the left side of the property,
is owned by the DNR. That whole portion that butts up against DNR, that's all wild. That's, I think the calculation said our viewing corridor would be something like 150. Yeah, and I think we're well within that. There's just no way on that lot to achieve setback from the lake on the front and the lake on the back. You'd have a house that was about 10 feet deep. I would also add that our neighbor added on, and he was already in a handicapped situation, and he added the first 4 bedrooms 2 or 3 years ago. And what we're proposing would not be any closer to the water than his is. So it's.
And that was a variance that was approved
Yep.
a few years ago.
Yes.
Correct. I think you told me that. Anything else, Roger? You have,
Unless you have some questions, I think. in a
We can ask
nutshell,
if we do.
I don't have any right at this time.
If not, we'll open the public hearing for 25-24-15 Larson. Mark?
There's 2 dimensions I didn't put on the below. Just to give you a reference, it's 48 feet from North End Lake, the main lake. And actually, the new addition is 80 feet, so actually it's more than 75 from the main lake. It's closer to the backside of that base. It's to the back, so.
Okay. What was it on the back bay, Mark? Do you have that?
It's 40 to center line and then still another 15 there, so it's probably 55 there, so it's conservative.
Yeah, it's actually the pinch point is on the slough side, essentially.
Okay.
That's where it
That's
goes in there,
sure,
there's actually an island kind of in front of that too, or, there's a seawall in front of that too, so. There really is, unless you paddle through the back bog there, there's really no way to get that close.
Yeah, you do a good job setting these up for us and superimposes so we can see existing with what's proposed, which we don't get that from all the rest of the surveyors, so it's very good. It's easier for us to make a decision.
Not that we say that, but that'd be some good advice to hand out when they apply.
Well, you
Sometimes
know-
it's already too late.
That first surveyor, on the first variance, I think I had 5 go-arounds with his map, and I'm like, you don't have this on there, this
Yeah.
is missing, and. So yeah, it's nice when you have the guys that are from the local area that know what you guys are looking for versus the people that don't.
I have no more questions, Roger. Do you guys?
Well, thank you.
Any other public comments? If not, we'll close the public comment. We had no letter on this one either.
No, you did.
We did, yeah.
This one had a letter, let's see here. Try to find, looks like this paragraph, it says there may be alternatives to the variance such as remodeling the interior of the 2-story residence such that there is a bedroom and bathroom on first floor. The application only provided a floor plan of the proposed addition.
If not, we'll close the public hearing and we'll deliberate amongst ourselves. No, honestly, this addition looks like it's tucked in pretty.
Yes.
In where it is. We've seen a lot worse ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Mark said, the addition is back 80 feet. In the ordinary high water mark from the North Sand Lake. Yes.
I have no further questions myself, but.
Want me to read the conditions on this
If
one?
you could,
Yeah,
please,
so the
Jason.
conditions that we have in the staff report, shoreline of Fulton State Center viewing and access corridor width, which is not to exceed 30% of the shoreline for the corridor width. And the vegetated natural area needs to be a depth of 37.5 feet landward from the ordinary high water mark. This is the same requirement as listed in state statute 596921BD, which allows for up to 200 square feet of open side construction within a 75-foot setback. Gutters and downspouts added to the cabin with the water director's rain garden. This is additional mitigation for exceeding the 200 square feet within the 75-foot setback. Land use permit to be obtained prior to structure being constructed. Need lock and chain on septic tank by 10/1/24. Proper erosion control, stormwater runoff controls to be in place. Follow all local, county, and state federal requirements for this activity.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept this variance 2415 for Larson with the conditions that Jason just read.
Motion by Schmidt, seconded by Grafke. With that, then. Any other discussion on 2415? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. You have your variance. Thank you, Mr. Larson.
Don't close the meeting yet. You guys got to sign.
Yep, paperwork from last week's.
Last month's meeting.
Okay.
So this
Sign it.
first one here, that was the garage, screen porch, garage too close to the road, screen porch too close to the river.
Good night.
You sign on the signed line, yep.
That's check.
This-
Thank you, Wanda.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he signed yours though, for your one. He signed
So
his
do I sign
secretary.
his?
Have Brad sign it, we do, yeah, because he wasn't even here.
Marv signed.
Okay.
Okay,
his
yeah, that's
secretary
true.
last time. Ritchie Road, this was the patios, retaining walls, the landscaping, kind of down by on Birch Island there.
Adventure.
This one here was the condo, where they tore down the lodge building to rebuild, but
Oh, yep.
back quite a ways from the lake on that one.
They're probably flipping that thing, I assume.
I think it's already for sale.
Yep. Oh, that condo,
Last month's the condo.
the main
already for sale.
building.
This one is the deck, on Rooney Lake. Now we can adjourn your meeting if you want.
We are adjourned, how about that?
Make a motion.
Schmidt,
Second.
Peterson, all in favor, aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. 7:05.
122 mile.
Yeah, just, yeah, let me, once I get all this stuff, I'll jot that down for you.
I had to drive out to Grants.
You know how I feel.
Yeah, really.
Except for I came from
I
Superior
kept
today.
going and going, and my Google's saying you have 15 more minutes. I'm saying, what?
Yes, I hear that Oakland and the Voyager Village ones and then way up there, it's like, that's like the